Okay, yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski. We're having a very passionate day today on stream, but we do have some big VGC news and development news, and I'm going to try to talk about it without being as angry as I possibly can, because I think it's really important to have productive discussion, and emotions do hinder that at times. Emotions are important for your foundations, but they should not impede your ability to communicate when trying to talk through things, etc., etc. There has been a lot of really negative, pessimistic, overly emotional feedback on the forums in response to me. I reached out to Rach, and I was asking for, I think it'd be a really cool thing, a really positive thing, to get some sort of information on upcoming stuff for the events. And I was basically asking for I was basically trying to be nice as possible and ask for some feedback, and they gave it to us. They told us VGC is like in queue, it's ready for, they're working on it, right? They told us they ran into more problems. They had problems stabilizing the server. It was a lot more difficult than they expected. All these things. The PokeMMO developers have told us, they told us, hey, we ran into some problems. Here's the problems and how we overcome. This is exactly what you want. Exactly what you want in a developer is communication. It's what people have been crying for, myself included, for years and years and years. Good communication. Tell us what you're working on, why, and why it's gotten delayed, and yada yada yada. And people still found a way to complain. And that's what sucks, is when you get a piece of positive news and people still find a way to you can find the negatives of anything in life if you want to. It's people who are choosing to view it negatively because they don't want to change their position of developers bad, yada. That's it. Devs bad. There's nothing they can do to be good. Devs are always bad. Let's get into the news before I can. I'm sorry, I'm already like rambling, right? But it's really frustrating because I feel like I'm fighting to foster a good player-to-developer communication, and it's very few people. It's a loud minority. Let me know if you're a viewer, you're probably not part of this, but I don't know, maybe, right? It's people on the forums who are not, in my opinion, productively discussing, to put it nicely. So Q responded, thanks to your opinions, folks, to a lot of people who are like, you know, upset and angry because they had to get communication through a Discord DM and blah, blah, blah. I get that. There are negatives there and critiques. Let's focus on the positives for once and appreciate the good thing, right? I'm going to do my video again. I think a lot of people don't realize that most developers are not social experts. They don't want to be social experts. They don't want to do, not that they're like socially unskilled. They just want to develop games. All the PokeMMO devs probably just want to make a game, develop a game, and make the best they can be. They don't want to constantly have to deal with constant critique. Critique is important. Critique is good. You cannot critique somebody every single day, or you're going to hurt their ability to receive critique. Let me read. Someone said, NQ for release with no indication of a general time is another pitiful cop-out response. Once again, choosing to see the negative. It is your perception that is warping this, not the reality. You're not in reality. You're warped. This is the absolute bare minimum that could have been said. That's not true. They could have ignored us. There's a lot, and also they could have not told us anything about VGC. I'm gonna get off track if I keep doing this. My apologies. I don't think there's anything to celebrate or blow out of proportion. That's a fine opinion. This is not logically correct, but this is a fair opinion to have, a valid emotion to have. Sorry that my offhand response to a player was not your satisfaction. Here's a broken down screenshot for you. I think people lack basic empathy when it comes to game development because a lot of people have never seen what it's like to be a game developer. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I like to think that I have decent empathy. You have to trust and understand that someone's working hard. So basically, we got even more communication from the devs of why it's been so hard to implement VGC. Let's talk about it. Note that the purple skin is not a feature. It's just a broken shader in development, the character skin being purple, right? So here's a picture of what Rage vs. Q, a picture of what VGC is planned to look like. You can see that the team you have, and then also the team preview of only be like, it's 6 Pokemon you preview, but then 4 Pokemon that you look at, and they have to code a team sheet for this to view your opponent's team sheet. I know that nobody actually, I agree with this. I know that it sucks that now Q, because people responded negatively, now Q, understandably, is bitter and frustrated and has to like sludge through all this, which sucks. I know that nobody actually cares about the actual implementation details, but here's what we had to do to make this work. I care and I appreciate it. Gut how team preview phases were performed. Previously, these were hacked into the main battle renderer and made things very messily internally. They now use a separate renderer. I may not understand this, but I can at least be like, okay. I think when someone in an expert field explains something to you, and you as a layman to that field should be like, he's using a lot of big words I don't understand. I can either respond with anger and pretend that I'm, you know, or I can be like, okay, you get it more than me, let me back off, right? The PokeMMO devs understand game development way more than I do, and way more than most people playing the game. That's why it's so frustrating when they constantly get critiqued on something that they are, yeah, not to say they're invulnerable to critique. Critique is important. We understand. You can even argue we understand how to play the game more, and I agree with that. But it's the frustrating stuff of like people saying just add VGC to the game, just update, just drag and drop it from. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You don't just drag and drop. It's a lot of hard work. Oh, that's a really good catch. For this catch event. That's a really good catch. That's like a. Okay, we'll talk about that in a sec. Wow. Low. Anyways, this is more important than possibly winning 4th place in a catch event. They had to support different team preview phase types for various battles. We had 4 distinct preview types for the various game modes we support. Add actual pick 4 functionality. We also added a pick 3 functionality to support quick battle types for singles. However, as Razimove says, we have a habit of saying things and not finishing them up. That is true. So this sentence is an explicit disclaimer that you don't get to flame me in 3 years if we don't end up doing this. I think this is based. I think qualifying and saying, hey, we do have a problem with this. I'm saying it's not a promise. So therefore, don't, you know, I think if the devs, almost everything the devs say, if they just promise, if they just qualify, this is not a promise, but we are working on this, I think they could say whatever they want, in my opinion. And then if anybody flames them for that, I'll flame that person because that's insane. For series support, best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, create a battle coordinator system. Well, this is all like tech jargon that most of us I don't understand this in a whole lot of ways, right? But it shows us that they're working on things that we don't even understand, yet people attack them constantly. We have to have, yeah, a lot of people have unrealistic expectations of what the developers can do, what they're capable of, because we don't understand development. It's kind of like, imagine if I asked, I don't know shit about construction, right? But imagine if I asked a construction worker to build me a house in 2 weeks, and they were like, we can't do that. We don't know when it will be done. And then I was upset at them. I don't know how to build. I could easily be, it's the ignorance and arrogance combo that is vehemently toxic and vehemently pronounced right now on the internet. There are so many people who are ignorant yet arrogant. You can be one, you can be the other. You cannot be both at the same time. It is one of the most dangerous mentalities in the world. This transcends PokeMMO. If you are ignorant, I'm ignorant. I'm dumb. I get it. There's a lot of things I'm ignorant about. I don't talk about them because of that. That's all you gotta, ignorant and aware of that ignorance, literally nothing wrong with that. You cannot be ignorant and then be arrogant when you're ignorant. You can be arrogant even and be really knowledgeable on a topic. That is not pleasant and it's not great, but it's not the toxic fumes that is ignorance and arrogance. The real bomb that goes off, the nuke. Okay, let's get back to the post. Then everything else on top of that, migrating existing series of battles to the new format, revisiting, matchmaking, balancing, etc. Nothing terribly hard. Just a little bit more than make VGC, bro, Lamau. And yeah, it took a lot longer than we were initially expecting. It started back in July. We took a break in August because it really sucked to make them. We wrapped up last week. With that being noted, sorry, but the next update will feature a large amount of very unsexy maintenance work. I appreciate them telling us that up front and telling us now. We started running into issues where highly animated items were causing severe performance degradation on low-end devices. That's something we can't not focus on. It sucks, but that is 2 months. This is a really important, people don't realize, oh, just make the next, just release Gen 6, release Gen 7. Where's Underground? Where's that, blah, blah, blah. In game development, you sometimes have to spend 2 months on maintenance. Wait, good morning, welcome to the world, wake up call, welcome. You're an adult like I am now. Sick. Learn that, dude. I'm like, Q can't even, he can't express himself the way he wants to, and I hope that I get some of it because it makes me mad as a non-developer. It makes me, it's just so dumb. It's so illogical the way people are. It's stupid and it's arrogant and ignorant, and that's the problem. That's what's so scary. Philosophical off stream today. Yeah, sorry about that. 2 months down the drain from one of our devs. There's also even more unsexy server maintenance. We ran into a situation where one of our main network providers started shitting the bed the past. There's external factors they can't control. Now, I always say, this should be, I'm like yelling, this is a really positive thing. Q is giving us insight and information to what's happening on the back end. They're having server problems with one of their providers. They had maintenance problems. They've had to put 2 months into low end device. Like this is everything we've been asking for as a community. This is the communication. This is it. So if you read this communication and then are like, well, this shouldn't be happening, the servers should just be working, blah, blah, blah. I don't want you in my community. If you read this and there's still critiques to be made, that's fine. If you want to productively critique, that's fine. At least compliment sandwich it. At least say, you know what, Q? Firstly, thank you so much for sharing this information. This is all we've been asking for. It means the world. I hope that a lot of players will see this and learn a lot about you guys and your empathy and yada yada. Secondly, I'm frustrated that it took this long to get this. I'm bummed that it took this long to get this information from you guys. Why did we have to pry it out of you, right? And then thirdly, thank you for all the hard work you do. Clearly, there's been a lot going on, and clearly you got to, like, just it should be basic levels of social intelligence. But we're on the internet playing an MMO. Not always everybody's strong suit. Who would have thought? Holy. Whew. Anyways, let's back to the post, okay? Server starting to shit the bed for that month. Sorry, I'm not the type to blog post about the week. I spent figuring out which data centers have the best links to CN2GIA. I don't even know what this means. Which tells me I shouldn't fucking talk about it because I don't know what this means. I should just be like, I trust them to do server work. We live in an era where there are people who will point at doctors and be like, I know more than you. We live in an era where there are people who will point at game developers and be like, I know more than you. And it is driving me and a lot of other earnest, quiet, responsible people fucking crazy. And you're not alone. The point of this video is you're not alone. You're not alone in that. But I'm doing what we shouldn't be doing and tweaking out a little bit. We should be controlled. We should be responsible. We should be loving and just be encouraging positive, productive communication with good critique, with productive critique, and then also compliment sandwiches, appreciation, and all those things in between. I'm very sorry if this was not the video for you. Very emotional video, not for everybody. I want to make that. I probably should have said at the beginning, so I apologize. But it's a video that I think must be made. I think it's really important. And I think hopefully people see it as, I'm not defending I get called, what sucks is when I defend the devs, I get called a bootlicker by one extremes. I've been called it many times. A bootlicker, blindly supporting the devs, always. But then when I critique things like temporary incubators, mysterious balls, I get called an elitist, a negative elitist, a doomsayer elitist. So I'm losing on both sides. There's two extremes, and I'm trying to be in the middle, and both extremes are attacking me, saying things, and they are niche, they're small. I should take the time to appreciate how many positive, I have gotten some of the most positive comments I've ever gotten in my content creation career over the past few months. And thank you guys for that. That is so, it is so above and beyond to leave. Let me appreciate, this is a great idea, great point for a compliment sandwich. This is a great point to, let's talk about, there's a lot of positives in the community, in the game. The game's more popular than ever. There's a lot of positives to my current content creation journey. I don't want to just focus on the small, loud minorities who will always be unhappy no matter what they get. Thank you guys for playing PokeMMO. Thank you for continuing to believe in the game. Even if you critique it, want to make it better, that's awesome. You got to critique things to make things better, but you cannot critique every single day. It has to be balance. Everything's about balance, right? Thank you guys for fighting with me. Thank you guys for being earnest. Thank you guys for the positive comments. It means so much. It means so much. Human brains are not wired to process the amount of negative comments that the internet provides to us. You don't even have to be a content creator to get this. I think everybody gets this nowadays. You go through 10 internet, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. If you go through 10 TikToks, whatever, Facebook posts, whatever, go through 10 of them and one of them is negative, but the other 9 make you laugh and smile, that one negative will stick out to you. And my thought process is, if I can get like 11 positives per one negative, I think that's like the ratio to me where I start to beat it. And I think I have been beating it. And I appreciate that's to you guys. You guys have been beating it for me. You're doing the hard work. So thank you. Thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for caring about PokeMMO. I hope this taught empathy to some people. I hope this brought us back to some normalcy. I'm sorry for not having the most emotional control in this video. I think there's a lot of critiques to be made about this video. I agree with that. It's not perfect. This is not a scripted thing. This is an emotional, on-the-fly live conversation. But the TLDR is, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the PokeMMO devs. I don't always agree with them on stuff. They are correct on things that I disagreed with at times. And then I think that I'm correct on things that they disagree with. Yeah. But they're definitely far better game developers than I am by light years. So I trust them. You have to trust people that you're engaging with them. If you don't trust them, we don't trust each other, what are we doing? There's no conversation to be had. You're in a lost system. If you don't trust the people you're engaging with like that, there's no winning. You're never going to win. You're pigeonholing yourself as a victim and agreeing that nothing can ever get better. And I think things can get better. There's always a what's the edgy Batman quote? There's always a dark before the dawn. And I promise you, the dawn is coming, okay? The bright parts of PokeMMO are coming. The game is beautiful. The community is here. We choose to make it what it is. Thank you for playing. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep having a blast. I'm going to keep playing the Iron Man. I'm going to keep shiny hunting. I'm going to keep EV training, XP training, doing every piece of content during the Halloween event that I'll be playing the game fucking 14 hours a day during the Halloween event, dude. Trying to get every single vanity on the Iron Man account, trying to get every single XP charm, richest charm that I can possibly stock up for years and years and years down the future, and preparing my Iron Man for the raids and dungeons and the future of PokeMMO, the PVM content to come. This game has been around for so long. It is not going anywhere. It is not dying. It is these passionate, meaningful discussions that only fuel our bright future that much more. So I am very excited for the bright future of PokeMMO, even to the darkest of times, even to the darkest of times, the most pessimistic and doomer of arguments and discussions and wasted time and energy. Things will get better, and they will only get better and better. And I believe in the devs, and I believe in the community. I believe in MMO players. I do. To make the right choices, be smart about things, critique things properly, and try to play the best damn Pokemon game that's ever been made. So let's continue on our journey. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't leave too many hate comments. Thank you.